Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. Let's jump in the queue here. And, oh, these are the last two people we played against, playing each other. The System and Suso, both taking big bites out of my rating. Oh well. That's what happens when you go on a winning streak for no reason. Turns out you're still not that amazing a player, and you lose, so, okay. So, first point of order, Unknown is pretty good, and so I'll have a rough time here. There are two, like, notable Apollo targets, right? Tatsu and Sinestra, which are, like, the main attackers you want to get. But, you know, can your opponent... If your opponent gets an Apollo against those units, I think they're in pretty good shape. I feel like you can't get that Apollo without being breached, but... Once you get it, if your opponent has a Sinestra or two or a Tatsu or two, I think you can keep the Apollo alive for a little while by like holding drones and allowing breaches for 3 while you take care of all their attack. So it's a possibility to go for Apollo. It's just so good against these two units. But also these two units are just like good, and there's no real support for Apollo here, right? I think someone who tries to go for Apollo might be in trouble from just, like, Tarsiers. Mobile Animus, also obviously, like, quite good with Sinestra and might be good with Tatsu. You know, you could buy a Tatsu or two and then use the click ability. You get some rhinos out of the deal. Discounted rhinos. I think I want to try for the Sinestra and see, like, how an Apollo player beats that. But maybe I should just go for the Apollo. I don't think I'm gonna go for Apollo. I think Tatsu might actually be harder to deal with than Sinestra for an Apollo player because you won't be able to use your walls very effectively. Whereas, like, at least with Sinestra, you get to use your walls. But they have Gauss charges, so I don't know. It looks like opponent wants Sinestras also, which is kind of what I want. Just feels like I'm in terrible shape. Opponent has a lead on the green stuff. I don't know. Was I supposed to go for Apollo? Can I still do that? I could. Right? Triple forwards next turn. Apollo. But they haven't committed to anything yet, right? They could just Gauss Cannon me or whatever. And I don't think that's good. Or go for Tarsiers and whatever, and that would beat Apollo. So I don't think I can do anything super committal. I don't know. All of these attackers are big enough that maybe third Engie is the right idea. So that you can, like, get walls involved as well while you do all this stuff. What is the opponent up to? He's played pretty quickly so far this game, hasn't he? I don't remember. Maybe not. considering C1, I suppose, like, that seems C1D is like a pretty cool thing to do, right? Seems pretty obvious. Maybe thinking about whether I can still transition to Apollo to beat that. I think I should try. Right, I can like wall forge next turn. And it's gonna be a pretty slow Apollo, but I think it should be worthwhile, right? I have force fields to make the defense a lot easier. And this is pretty committed to Sinestra, I feel like. Like, what are you gonna do here? Tarsier Gauss Cannon? Tarsier and a bunch of Gauss charges? It just sucks. So I think this is committing to Sinestra, and I'm gonna try to beat that with Apollo. Wall forge. I would still have enough to build an Apollo. Yeah, let's do that. It's gonna be slow, but opponent can't actually follow this up with much of anything, I feel like. Right? They're gonna build like a Tarsier next turn or something. Maybe a Gauss charge. So I want an NG, but I can still Apollo. If they don't Gauss charge, I don't need the NG. And I could like Apollo drone followed by force fields. But I think that they might do a Gauss charge thing, and I would rather have NG and Apollo force field available. No, I think force field defends this. Right? Oh, if you cut this Tarsier and got another Rhino, I'd be pretty sad. 5, 6, 7. Oh no, I'm fine with that actually. Yeah, this NG means that I can live with Apollo force field. Interesting. Gonna try to transition to just green with the mobile animus click. Huh. But they got a Tarsier and didn't click the mobile animus, so I'm not sure if that is the plan after all. Okay, there it is. They're basically saying an Apollo that snipes one Sinestra isn't going to be good enough to be worth this investment, I guess. And in the meantime, they have 5 attack and I have 0. Well, there's something to that. But I have some absorb and you have very little. I don't know. Actually, this Gauss charge might be bad because I'm maybe not clicking this splitter next turn. And I can always buy it later, right? All it does is kill an engineer. Whereas if I save it, maybe it can be a force field instead. Is this gonna be another mobile animus showcase? Like the last game? They get a free Rhino hold here, I guess. Not super bothered. Really? A forge? Against Apollo? Why? Shouldn't you just buy more Gauss cannons? I mean, you can't right now, but... more green stuff in general, I mean. And they don't get to hold anything back this time, so I'm not actually being exploited, which is nice. But obviously I don't have a lot of attack, and they do. But I'm absorbing quite a bit, so we'll see. I'm really tempted to snipe the Rhino here and not the Tarsier. It means I'll take 1 extra damage, but I'll deal 1 extra damage. Sort of. Well, when I put it that way, I'd much rather not make that trade, right? Taking damage is much worse than dealing damage for me. So I think I should just take out the Tarsier, prevent the damage. And get some more attack. I do think I'm behind, though. I'm absorbing 2 more, but they're attacking for 4 more. On the other hand, I have an Apollo. And I can hold back my attackers. If I can ever, like, stabilize, maybe that would be good. Soon I can kill some drones, maybe. I think this drone might be greedy, but I don't know, I have force fields. Like, okay, on 10 drones, how much can I cope with every turn? Not as much damage as they're doing, I think. Right, I need to build, like, wall, force field, NG drone, which is, like, $11. So even if I could stop them from buying new stuff right now, I'd be in trouble. And I can't do that, obviously. Yeah, I'm just not killing anything. And I'm losing stuff, right? Yeah, they're adding Gauss cannons and I'm not doing anything. Okay. Huh. Yeah. Okay, well... So I guess that my problem in this game was in describing the opponent's strategy as being Sinestras and saying, isn't Apollo going to win against Sinestras? I don't really characterize the breadth of what my opponent has access to. They don't have to keep building Sinestras once I build Apollo. they don't even have to keep building red stuff. I thought, like, okay, yeah, snipe a Sinestra, maybe 2 somehow, and then work on Tarsiers, and, like, it seems like maybe we would be okay. But when they can transition to just green and, like, give up the Sinestra and say, yep, okay, you got me, but now you have shitty tech and no damage. And your Apollo's gonna suck. This is not a resource that I imagined my opponent having access to. And so my belief that Apollo would do well against Sinestras was not really fully thought out because I didn't think about what Sinestra could turn into. And I just didn't have enough econ to, like, hang on to this. Like, I could have gotten 3rd Engie here on turn 2. And that would have been better, I think, if I wanted to get the Apollo. Right, I basically would have not gotten this conduit and would get a drone instead, and then the conduit later. But that's kind of hard. Like, I wouldn't have had this wall as soon, maybe. Well, I'd have the wall, but I wouldn't have the conduit to build a force field with. I'd be up drones. I don't know. But if I'd done that, like, I think opponent could maybe have not gone for Sinestras and instead gone for Tatsus, and, like, that would have been pretty cool too. God, this end state looks horrible, doesn't it? Like, 10 drones and Apollo versus 10 drones and 9 Gauss cannons. Why would you ever build the Apollo if this is the state you're gonna get to? Ugh. Yeah. Just, I mean, they were gonna make it all the way up to 10 Gauss cannons, I think. Because I mean, yeah, obviously, they can do whatever they want. If they want the 10th Gauss cannon, they can have it, because there's building EE every turn. And, like, they have $6 left to spend on whatever they want. Gauss cannon, conduits, whatever. And I'm degrading. Well, I don't know. Maybe the new Mobile Animus is just so amazing that all these Mobile Animus plays that I'm seeing have gotten way better than they would have been. Or maybe in all these situations, Mobile Animus would have been good anyway, and now it's just even better. I think in this case, the old Mobile Animus would have been fine, actually. I don't know. I mean, I guess they couldn't have taken this turn if the Mobile Animus click cost another $1. But surely they could have done something good, right? You know, one more Tarsier instead of this Rhino wouldn't be the end of the world, I think. Yeah, it would have been fine. I don't know. Yeah, I think it still would have beaten me. It's not like this was so close that $1 was going to make all the difference, right? It was kind of a bloodbath. Oh well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.